सेहत है तो सब कुछ है.
On 31st January 2020, Imedrix hosted a conclave on frontiers in digital medicine at Taj Lands End, Mumbai. The aim of this event was to discuss the key roles and advancements of digital technologies in healthcare. The event was attended by top dignitaries of the health fraternity, which included top specialized doctors, hospital personnel, and pharma leaders. The event kick-started with the lighting of the traditional lamp, followed by honoring the esteemed health dignitaries with tokens of appreciation. This was followed by sessions and discussions on digital health. The first session discussed the role of digital technologies in acute cardiac care.
A very good evening and a very warm welcome. It's indeed on behalf of Imedrix Inc. It's a great pleasure to invite you all, the eminent speakers, the very, very charming chairpersons, and the people who are going to have a very wonderful discussions in the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be in your midst, and welcome from my side as well for this conclave on frontiers in digital medicine. Role of digital technologies in acute cardiac care. We have two very eminent medical professionals. It's a great privilege to have them with us, who will be chairing the session for us.
I have slight apprehensions, and it's not a good idea to start with apprehensions when you're talking about digital medicine. But I have apprehensions that sometimes these things move so fast that the persons actually involved, the patient and the medical staff, the sisters, are often left pretty much behind in what's happening. And I hope that as we move into the future, we realize that the technology should help the doctors, help the nursing staff, and help the patient improving its care. I would like to start off with this because I think that being on the other side of the spectrum, the technologists and the people who are pushing the frontiers of technology may forget the actual users of the technology.
Going a little positive on the, I fully agree with what Dr. Dalal said in terms of keeping pace with the advancements. I had gone to a hospital in China a few months ago, and this is right at the northern tip of China. It's almost bordering Russia, and it's a small city there where basically the hospital was huge, and when we entered the ICU, we saw a huge screen, which was possibly 3 times the size of the screen, and on it were multiple ECGs. So we asked them, what was it? What is this? So they have a system where they have multiple ECGs from all the provinces, all the hospitals in that province, being all the important ECGs being transmitted to this hospital. And there's a person who's sitting there reading the ECGs. And at any point of time, there's some issue, they contact the hospital directly and tell them how to treat the patient. That's way advanced. That's one way of how medicine has progressed in terms of digitization, digital technology. And I think we also have this a similar model in South India, where they are treating patients with acute heart attacks on a hub and spoke model.
With our rapid practice of cardiology itself, many a times we are digitizing ourselves, and the technology is catching up so much with us. When in our practice, when we started doing an angiogram, and we used to see the angiogram on the Tagarno on a 35 mm film. I believe from there we have moved on to CDs, and then now we have a quantitative analysis of each angiogram. So in your own practice of cardiology has moved so much in the last 2 decades. The digital medicine is very standard, and like it is fed up, everything is fed in the whole gamut of things to come in, and so you will not miss certain things which a human individual can miss while doing a certain procedure. With that, I end my talk. Thank you, sir.
Most patients now discuss everything on WhatsApp. But there's a drawback to that because you don't see the patient and you're supposed to answer and yet you are legally told not to answer. So the legal fraternity says that we should not be doing this digital technology. The judiciary doesn't look favorably on the medical digital technology. They often feel that if you've not seen the patient, it's negligence because you advise the patient without seeing the patient.
The second session spoke about medico marketing digital strategies.
I'm privileged to be here as part of the panel, and I must say that it's a great honor to be on the same stage with Mr. Jain and Mr. Bahaduri. While financial sector, the consumer sector has, adopted digital technology very early, I think pharma has been a laggard the world over, and for very good reasons, because we're always cautious, conservative when we do anything with patients, taking care of human life. Nonetheless, digital has now come to stay in pharma.
This subject is moving so fast that for a person of my age, it is simply impossible to cope with the speed of change. But what you are discussing is something that is of great importance and interest to people like me, because in the process of visiting wildlife and nature, we go to the remote villages, far away from here, far away from any medical facility, far away even from civilization. And when you bring your expertise, your technology to that patient to save his life, then that is real science.
It is great to be here today, and thanks to Imedrix and thanks to customer. Thanks to Ashok for taking this initiative, indeed a very pioneering initiative. If we see today's world is healthcare is the area where digital will play an important role. And if we see Google, Sundar Pichai, and if we see Microsoft, and if we see India's IT setups like TCS, and I will talk about this, Digital, which is the new book which has come in, healthcare is the place where digital will make fundamental difference going forward. We have to look into the context of the customer and the patients. And as Rashmi was saying, starting point for the digital strategy and for any business is the customer and the patient. Looking at in the context of medicine, I will say that a good physician treats the disease, while a great physician treats the patient who has the disease.
So things are happening, things are changing, even in some of the remotest areas of a large and poor country like ours. So this will also happen. And things will happen to help people. That is what I think is the bottom line, because things must not happen only because it's new technology and it's a fad. But the last person should get some help out of it. Thank you.
Two such stalwarts have, spoken on this. So thank you for setting the vision for digital in India. I think you made a case for, holistic care of the patient. And I think this digital strategy that you led in Abbott, we used to call it Pill Plus.
The third session, Mr. Shrikant Jacharya, Group CEO Imedrix USA, spoke on Medical is the New Mobile.
We now move on to our next session, which is Medical is the New Mobile. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now request our chairpersons for the session, Dr. Sujit Chatterjee and Dr. Santosh Shetty. Could you please give an overview of the session and your views, and then we'll have Mr. Shrikant to talk to us on Medical is the New Mobile. Dr. Chatterjee.
I think we've been talking about a lot of remote patient monitoring, including Dr. Dalal said that the robotics is not an advent which is not present in India. Just the other couple of months ago, a cardiologist in Ahmedabad actually did an angioplasty from a distant hospital to another. So, I mean, it's all on the cards. But there are going to be certain restrictions and there are going to be certain threats which we will have with mobility of data.
The session is called Medical is the New Mobile, but I think we are slowly headed in a direction where mobile is going to be the new medical. I think that is the direction that we are heading to. As hospital administrators, we are faced with a very unique challenge, because the way the private healthcare has evolved, we've now reached a situation where patients come into hospitals expecting service standards of the level of a Ritz-Carlton. They expect precision of a NASA, but the pricing that's expected. So there are a lot of things that are happening, lots of innovations going on. How do we make doctors more efficient, more productive? Of course, with it comes the challenges that doctors today have become available round the clock. Like what Dr. Dalal said, WhatsApp has become so common, and one of the commonest complaints we as hospital administrators listen to is that, we sent a WhatsApp to a doctor and he never bothered to respond. So I mean, that's something that again we need to keep a close watch on in terms of what are the boundaries, what are the guidelines when we use mobile for medical. So we all look forward very excitedly to hear Mr. Srikanth.
So first of all, on behalf of Imedrix, I actually want to thank all of you for coming, on a weekend evening. So while I'm not qualified to give medical advice, mobiles is my life. So the first generation of mobile devices were actually computers. They moved from like these big mainframes to desktops and then to laptops. So I actually used to be an architect at Intel, and some of my work, if you touch a laptop since '98, you pretty much see my work in the laptops. So right now we are in the era of remote devices and telehealth services. And now actually what Imedrix is unveiling today, a lot of the demos you'll see by my team back there, is automated responses and getting to converged systems. That's what you're going to see, some of that. But we're also unleashing a lot of the data-centric aspects of it. And CardioScreen, our product that you'll see on display today and doing multiple things, is a great example of mobile medical. At the first level, what it is it converts a skilled device to an unskilled use model. But one of the biggest benefits I see coming is prediction and prevention. To me, there's another matter of pride. Most of my startups, this is my 7th one going on, are all Make in India success stories.
Mr. Srikanth, you very lucidly put the entire history of mobiles, and thank you very much, so that we are able to communicate much better because of you.
The event highlight was the release of the paper on cardiac care burden and digital opportunity.
Mr. Akshay, please come forward and let's have the white paper on cardiac care burden and digital opportunity released by you here, please.
I know Imedrix since about 5 years' time, and we started the clinical study at the JSS Hospital in Mysore. We conducted this particular study to examine whether the instrument that we are going to use in our practice is comparable to the best that is available already in the market. We found that the comparability was excellent in terms of its ability to recognize the abnormalities in the ECG and its ability to kind of discriminate between a kind of hypertrophy of the heart or arrhythmias in the heart or infarction like heart attacks. So we were quite impressed, and in fact I don't think there's any conflict of interest. Congratulations, Imedrix, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Way forward through digitalization. This was followed by the 4th session.
Thank you very much, and we now move on to the next session, which is Pharma Industry, Way Forward Through Digitalization.
So, like Dave, I'm also not a digital native, I'm a digital immigrant, but this is really where the future lies. So it's a brave man who can predict the future of healthcare, but we've already seen how the future is here already. But there are really three forces shaping our industry. Technology, which is digital. The other one is biomedical innovation, of which most of you are aware of. And third is pricing. But technologies which will define the future in healthcare, one is digital. As we said, artificial intelligence is not augmented intelligence or assisted intelligence. It's a combination of doctor's intelligence with the artificial intelligence which will make the difference. Big data, which is going to be converted to rich data to actionable data, to wisdom and to insights.
Thanks for bringing to the world this great device. It's truly transformational. We are going to get a lot more parameters on each patient. So really it is not about patient care or patient management, it is about pre-patient care. Point is, with all this data, things are going to get a lot more transparent, and I think we all, at least from a pharmaceutical point of view, we will all have to work a lot harder.
So there is not a single CEO of a pharma company today who is not really concerned about how digital is going to change the way we work in our industry. And already digital is very well accepted as far as the regulatory aspects is concerned in various parts of the world. So it's advanced quite a lot. In private market, how much money is coming into AI healthcare startup raised since 2013? And look at the numbers. We are talking a staggering number of over $4.5 billion being pumped in. And we all know that this is happening right now in every organization. So we need to really understand what digital means to our company.
Pharma industry way forward through digitalization. The last session was a panel discussion on digital cardiology.
We now move on to the last session of this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a panel discussion on digital cardiology.
The digital technology, and give your view on that in a briefly on that, and we'll move on.
So, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think the learning that I've been through my professional as well as my personal career is the way how some of these unmet needs have remained in demographies such as India.
I think there are 5 ways in which as a pharma company we see the impact, at least currently, on diagnosis, to be able to prepone the diagnosis. Secondly, to improve the quality of diagnosis. Third, on improving the entire convenience that it brings.
I think I would like to see if Mr. Anil can throw specifically what cardiology. I know you've been in the cardiology for a long time. Tell us, how do you think how that's placed in this from your perspective?
Sure, thank you. So the first thing what I feel is that the transformative power of digital has still not reached its full potential in our country today.
By the experience of digital technologies working in the life of both consumers in other spheres, whether it's shopping experience or banking experience, that barrier, I think, has kind of lessened.
In the end, top health dignitaries gave their views on the event and the success.
A lot of doctors have knowledge, but still getting the digital knowledge and also the digital sense into their practice makes their whole work very simplified and to the point. And so digital medicine and like the telemedicine, digital medicine, more of these conclaves and more of this should be taken in a shorter version and go to the needs of the doctors, what they really want to know about the digital medicine and the digital healthcare, because a lot of doctors have their own problems in understanding, inculcating this knowledge into their day-to-day practice.
I think it was a great event, very eminent speakers, and they touched upon the fact that
this disruption that's happening through digital in the industry. We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg, and there are times which are uncertain, and our ability to keep up and try out new things, to innovate, is the need of the hour. I think Imedrix innovation is very unique. It's bringing convenience, cost of diagnosis down to a certain level that the primary caregiver, the general physician and the consulting physician will be able to provide a patient care solution without having the skills also to be able to deliver it. The fact that ECG is getting democratized through Imedrix is a very novel and unique experiment.
Well, today's session was an incredibly important session. I think we are all aware that how digital is transforming our lives. But I think more importantly, healthcare is truly at the cusp of now adapting digital in every aspect of our business.
So, sir, is your organization working with Imedrix?
Yes, Imedrix. I've just seen the kind of work that Imedrix has done, especially with the cardio screen, which has just come out. It's a tremendous invention and also made in India.
Today, whatever the program has been there, it was very interesting. All through the sessions, each of the speakers identified what is the future. And my personal opinion is digital technology is bound to flourish. It is the future of medical practice.
Is your organization currently working with Imedrix?
At the moment, no, but I look forward to be associated with such tie-ups.
I will say that this is a pioneering initiative. A lot is happening in the digital world, and digital will play a very important role in advancing patient care. I will say that it is the pioneering initiative by Imedrix, and I would like to congratulate that they have set the conversation rolling in this important arena.
I think this is a wonderful confluence of minds and thoughts which have converged over here. It's a proud privilege to have the senior captains of the industry with the top-notch opinion leaders who have come here together to share their expertise and point of view to see how digital technology can be leveraged to improvise the outcome of patients. It's amazing to see the work done by Imedrix in this area and the kind of technology that they have used to change the landscape of healthcare in the country. Sure, I think organizations like Imedrix, thanks to the technology and thanks to the phenomenal work that they have done, has the potential to really reach out to every patient.
I think this is a very timely and extremely important, I would say, this is an inflection point for us to look at digital as a solution, and it, to build the ecosystem, finally to impact the patient's outcome, the treatment outcome. So the question is that how do we connect all the dots? And this event has delivered that, very futuristic. What is going to come in future, and particularly in the cardiac care, which is so important in today's context. So I really feel this is an extremely important event.
So I think the event was very well organized, and I told Mr. Ashok Kumar that I've never seen so many stalwarts in the same room. The event also covered all the aspects of digitalization, from what is the value to the patient it brings to the patient, what is the value it brings to doctors, what is the value it brings to other healthcare professionals. Imedrix having received the approval of the US FDA is very significant, because I think most doctors in India will not use any device unless it is approved by regulators.
We know that digital movement is gaining momentum, and we know that by the year 2030, 40% of the global economy will be digital. So it has impacted every walk of the life. As far as Imedrix is concerned, I think what the companies, the startups like this, they are looking at the unmet needs of the existing healthcare ecosystem, and they are trying to find innovative yet very affordable solutions.
This digitalization, particularly in the cardio-diabeto, is very important. There are certain diseases where it is difficult and very infantile stage, for example, cancer and all that. But in this segment, This is bound to come and it is the future.
Artificial intelligence or machine learning transforming your field, especially in India?
See, there are huge data are coming, and people have got lot many information together. Now, to segregate and use it for the proper benefit, it is only artificial intelligence that it is going to do. Otherwise, it is very difficult to decipher the data and then use it. It is artificial intelligence that is going to help it.
Well, the event was very well curated, had an excellent lineup of speakers, and as we all know, digital health is the way forward. And in that regard, I would like to add the role of medical tourism in India. At the moment, India is positioned as number 5.
So, in your view, what are the significance of as Imedrix receiving FDA clearance? So, how it will be helpful in medical field?
Well, for Imedrix cardio screen to receive FDA approval is a big achievement. For cardio screen to have an FDA approval just a few weeks back is a big achievement, and I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the entire team of Imedrix for this wonderful work that they've been doing.
I've been using the cardio screen ECG device for our patients who are having MI, and the ECG is being transferred to our control room, and the ECG takes about 2 to 3 seconds to reach our control room. And the cardiologist, he analyzes the ECG and reports or advises the nurse what has to be done for the patient. The event was very good, and we learned a lot of things from the sessions, how the digitalization in medicine in future is going to be.
Basically, as a pharma company, someone mentioned on the stage that the pharma company is a laggard when it comes to digital transformation. So I believe a lot of learning for pharma as well as doctors in terms of how this whole eclipse of digitization in the pharma, medical, and the doctor arena is happening. So it's a great learning for all of us. No, we are not currently working with these guys. I think it'll be a good addition for us. It'll be a good addition for the physicians, the anesthesiologists, etc. that we are associated with at Themis. We're looking forward to see how we can associate with these guys.
Digital as a platform has not been discussed a lot. And obviously in pharma industry, as been highlighted by the speakers, we are far from where we should be. Therefore, I believe this event has been one of its kind to propagate that what's the importance of digital for patient care.
As far as to whatever basic level that we have, I think we heard during the conference today that WhatsApp has become a very major kind of a source for the general public, because for people who are actually into applied artificial intelligence, who probably understand the science of it a little better, because what happens is that the treatment is not delayed. What happens is that you send a report, you use digital marketing, you use artificial intelligence to make sure that the message gets across. You get a message across that there is a certain protocol of treatment which is begun, which otherwise, if artificial intelligence or if digital marketing was not there, would not have happened. You would have probably seen a delay in the treatment protocols happening and probably would have an impact on life.
I think the evening has been better than what I've anticipated. It's so astonishing that we have all the brilliant minds all under one roof, and that is not an easy thing to do. And I'm more than impressed. Imedrix is a paradigm shift. We are not just a medical equipment company, but I think we are going to be disruptive. And I think we will succeed because everybody else is behind us, although many companies, our competitors, have been saying that they have the same type of technology, but that is just vaporware.
In India especially, we are prone to heart disease. We get it earlier than most other populations in the world. Indians are twice as likely as any other race on earth to die of heart disease. So this is a problem that's very dear to my heart, because almost every one of us know somebody who died very young from heart attacks or other diseases like that. So we've actually taken up India first as our marketing strategy for Imedrix. What does Imedrix do? We make a mobile electrocardiogram device and write applications on top of that. So we're connecting technology, and so patients in any part of India can basically access cardiac care. There are only 4,000 cardiologists in India, and they're all in the major cities. So if you live in a town that doesn't have a cardiologist, you have a long way to access healthcare, and that's often fatal. What our technology has done is actually allowed people pretty much in the remote corners of India use even like the local operators to take get heart disease checkups and send them to cardiologists in the city, and then get the care that they want and the prescription they want right at their doorstep without having to incur the cost of travel. There's a lot of technology on paper, but when you actually want to bet somebody's life on it, there isn't much really available. So we are that one technology that's day in and day out saving lives.
The event was a grand success and concluded with a mission of digital technology going to be the front runner in health and bridging the gap between the service provider and all the people in the future.
Like, share, subscribe for more such informative videos.